road to the Final Four. We join you today from Hartford. Winter Storm Jonas has walloped the East Coast, but this part of Connecticut hasn't felt it yet. Today, the Georgetown Hoyas take on the UConn Huskies from XL Center. And welcome, everybody. I am Eagle along with Jim Spinarco, the rest of our crew here on CBS Sports. Great to be with you. For 34 years, these two teams were rivals, conference rivals. Not anymore. The dynamic has changed, the good old days, but it's a little different now. These two teams are trying to build up NCAA tournament resumes at this time of year.
And both of these teams had some bumps in the road earlier in the season, and they've made some adjustments. Clearly, both of them winning 6 of their last 8 games, and they both feel that their best basketball is ahead of them.
How about individually? Who's caught your eye for this matchup?
I think for both of these teams, you have to go to the backcourt and start. For Georgetown, Devontae Smith is a guy who can go up and down. He's very, very sharp when it comes to shooting the basketball in terms of making sure he understands the basics of the Georgetown offense. On the other hand, Sterling Gibbs will go at you with the basketball. He will run the floor. He will really put it out there in transition. He loves to get to the free throw line where he shoots 5 a game. But if this game is close and they need a bucket, that ball will be in his hands at the end of the game.
It's the 65th all-time meeting between these two programs. A lot of history. Right now, let's check out our AT&T fast analysis, Jimmy.
Well, one of the things that Georgetown does so well is they really spread the floor, but what they've adjusted to is going down to their bigs on the block. So when they get the ball down low, that opens up the perimeter. If they can get the three-point shot to go down, they are totally a different team on the offensive end of the floor. Daniel Hamilton is an impact player for Connecticut. One of the things about him at 6'7", he's their leading rebounder, leading assist guy, has great vision on the court coming down the floor, will make good decisions, so watch for him as an impact player coming down the middle.
We will have starting lineups and opening tip coming up. College basketball on CBS, the start of a triple header Saturday. CBS Sports college basketball coverage is sponsored by Buick, proud partner of the NCAA. AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Budweiser, make a plan to make it home. It's a series that goes back to the 1958-59 season. Last time these two teams met, a thriller. Double overtime. Georgetown won it 79-78. John Thompson III. It felt like the team has been close all year, but just now they're starting to play their best basketball of the season. Starting lineup: Cameron, Smith, Rivera, Hayes, Campbell, and Copeland for Georgetown. Meanwhile, for UConn, Calhoun gets to start with Gibbs in the backcourt, so it's the senior getting the opportunity with Hamilton, Nolan, and Miller up front. For Kevin Ollie's squad, now in his 4th season as the head coach, won the national championship just 2 years removed from that. UConn did not make the NCAA tournament last season. They're coming off a 60-42 win over Tulane on Tuesday night. John Higgins, Michael Stevens, and Clarence Armstrong, our officiating crew today in Hartford. Georgetown controls the tip. We're underway. Devontae Smith Rivera, an all-everything type performer for the Hoyas. You'll see him handling the ball, but a lot of ball movement with the Princeton principals. Outside, Copeland. He's a threat from there. Hayes, jump hook with either hand. And he's starting to pick it up.
Yeah, one of the things they're going to try to do is hit the blocks as much as possible. And now this gives them the opportunity to switch up their defenses a little bit, go 1-2-2.
Hamilton floats it upstairs. Unable to finish. Sean Miller. Push it the other way. Smith Rivera. Look for the outside. Campbell had the hot hand in the big victory over Xavier. Finished with a career-high 21 points. He's off the mark on his first attempt.
He shot the ball from long range very well. 5 of 7 from the three-point stripe in that game.
Experience on this UConn team with Sterling Gibbs, graduate transfer. Sean Miller, graduate transfer as well. Gibbs came from Seton Hall, Miller from Cornell. And a foul out front. off the drive by Gibbs.
And that's a perfect example, Ian, of what they're going to try to do this afternoon. Gibbs in particular. They're going to try to use both sides of the floor. And when they get opportunities to slash with the basketball, and Gibbs is very, very good at that. And what that does is it sets himself up for opportunities in the lane, but also kickouts for the shooters.
Trey Campbell picking up the foul for Georgetown. Hamilton gives up his dribble. New shot clock to work with.
Georgetown shows a zone to switch up right off the bat.
UConn playing without Amita Brima. Their 7-footer in the middle. That's a long three off the side of the rim from Gibbs.
And without Brima in the lineup, they've really emphasized the outside perimeter defense, stopping the dribble drives.
On a dump down. Hayes off the double team. Copeland with 15 to shoot. Georgetown with a 2-0 lead. Copeland's jumper, silky smooth. Isaac Copeland, the sophomore.
Well, he's got the poise, but unfortunately for him in recent games, his offense hasn't been that smooth. If he can hit that little outside jumper for him, once again, that's going to open up slashing lanes. Keep in mind, Georgetown will go to the traditional backdoor cuts at the offensive end of the floor.
Copeland went 0 of 5 from the field against Xavier. Having a tough time getting a clean shot off here as UConn. 6 to shoot. Calhoun, the senior, drives, dishes on the inside, and the layup goes. Philip Nolan planted himself underneath. It's a good find by Calhoun.
It sure is, and Nolan putting himself in a catching position. There's a little reach from behind.
Early offense to Hayes, so the philosophy has been pretty straightforward for Georgetown on the offensive end.
Good drive to the basket, and the big, two things the big has to do. He has to park himself and wait, but at the other part of it, he has to be ready to catch. A lot of times we see a big guy go looking for the ball and forget to get it in his hands before he makes his move. So good work there by Nolan down deep.
Foul called on Daniel Hamilton. Hayes is a 62% shooter out of Jacksonville, Florida. He was a non-factor for the majority of his first 3 years with the program. Then last season in the NCAA tournament has an impact against Eastern Washington, and that gave him a jolt of confidence that he's carried over into his senior season.
First 3 years, 30 points. This year, up to 162 coming into this game.
6-2 lead for UConn. Gibbs sets it up.
They're just switching with the man-to-man, but they're back to a man-to-man look right now defensively. I like the way they're switching defenses.
It goes down. Sean Miller has been such a nice addition to this team. Two-time all-first-team Ivy League at Cornell. The competition has stepped up. He's matched it, and a foul called on the other end as Philip Nolan was trying to defend. He's the one that stepped in for Brima in the starting lineup for Kevin Ollie. So 6-4, Georgetown. They go long with it. Ball fake. Cameron tried to go with the bank. It's off the mark. Rebounded by Hamilton, averaging just under 9 per game. Slashing to the rim. Gibbs, no. Miller gets denied by the hoop.
Well, that was a terrific decision by Gibbs, too, not to give that ball up. Just missing the shot on the drive. But how about that transition offense for Connecticut?
Inside. Hayes off the double.
Good double team in there, too. It might have been 3 seconds in the lane.
It is. Turnover, Georgetown. So Amita Brima, who averages 3 blocks per game, missing his 10th straight game, broken finger. He suffered it on his right hand in practice on December the 21st. Initial diagnosis, they were looking at 6 to 8 weeks. So right now you're at 4.
And one thing he does is not sit on the bench over there. He's up there, he's cheerleading, he's receiving those guys when they come off the floor. Very energetic as a leader.
Fully engaged. Brima, the junior, originally from Ghana. Rodney Purvis is in for UConn. LJ Peak for Georgetown. Tough angle off the rim from Miller. So the push once again from Georgetown. Peak, who was a starter, now coming off the bench, and he's found a nice role there.
With the constant look to the blocks, keep the ball moving, you get an outside shot.
It's Smith Rivera. Bottom, a 3. DSR from deep.
Hayes with that good diagonal pass from the blocks on the left side across to get the action moving.
And a 9-4 lead for the Hoyas. Just over 4 minutes gone by in this first half from Hartford. UConn just 36% from the field in the win over Tulane the other night. Hamilton, that's a good sign for the Huskies. He's not been shooting it well as he drains the triple.
And one of the things he's had problems is Cameron lets one rip. He's been shooting the ball from long range. That's what he does also. But Hamilton at the other end has been forcing his shots and hurrying them a little bit that time, and Knight's sweet jumper.
Old school Big East rivals, Georgetown and UConn. Some of the most unforgettable names in college basketball history. We're coming back. Georgetown up 2 on UConn. Well, there's a shared history here. You think back to all of those Big East battles through the years. That Iverson-Ray Allen duel in the Big East championship game certainly comes to mind. 34 years together in the Big East. And Jim Calhoun, he's behind the cheerleaders.
He's in there somewhere.
He's there.
We've spotted him. There you go.
Yeah, I think he's got a rooting interest here. 3 national titles as the head coach of the Huskies, and went against JT3, John Thompson III's dad, for so many years. Calhoun has said UConn didn't feel like they were on the map until they beat Georgetown. And the jump shot goes for Cameron off the timeout. Always a good feeling for a coaching staff when you execute coming off the timeout. But that was the barometer. Beating Georgetown meant you would get national attention.
Absolutely. And I think there's still that, right now this game has a little impact on resume building as when you think about it, when you touch on it in the open. And I think more so for Connecticut because the competition in their league may not be as big and strong as the Big East right now.
UConn now in the American Athletic Conference, 3rd season there. Off the mark. Purvis missing on the jump shot. 1 and done for UConn. Smith Rivera on the push. They show defensively. Jump shot doesn't go for Copeland. Knocked around and controlled by Miller for UConn. It's an 11-7 lead for Georgetown. Huskies have missed 4 of their last 5 shots. They're now 3 of 9 overall. Purvis got contact, couldn't finish, but going to the free throw line. The transfer from NC State will shoot a pair.
And he's a guy who's just really accepted his role in this team. He can shoot the ball from the outside, but look at the way he leads with his body to make sure there's going to be contact. As a driver, once you turn the corner and you see a big standing there, now you have to figure out on the way towards the basket how to hit him, avoid him, and still get your shot off.
Struggling at the free throw line, though, this season. 56% for Purvis. This week on The Late Show, Colbert's All New with Chris Pine, Josh Brolin, and Monday NBA star Russell Westbrook. Only CBS. McDonald's All-American out of Raleigh, North Carolina.
Too good a stroke for 56%.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I know, I can't figure it out either.
Shoots 40% from 3-point territory. Much better at home from beyond the arc. Was it a travel? Yeah. It was. LJ Peak right at midcourt turns it over.
So he really got himself into 2 problems there. One's coming across with indecision, and the other part was if he didn't pass the basketball, he would have been stuck right there against the sideline and the half-court line.
Oh, he asked Kevin Ollie what's changed about his team in recent weeks. He said the defense has been really strong. They've won 8 of their last 10. There's a giveaway, not on the same page. Kenton Facey just checked into the game, went cross court, and an unforced error, the first turnover of the day for Ollie's team.
Well, the timing on that miscue was perfect, wasn't it, in terms of the error? Both of them, one left, and the ball passes out of bounds.
On the outside, Smith Rivera has already made a 3. Here's Copeland, lanky kick out. Cameron, hard drive to the rim. And controlled by UConn. Nolan gets it up the floor. Purvis is fouled. So that's an aggressive attitude from Purvis. The question now, can he translate that into consistent points at the free throw line? He had the right idea going right to the rim.
And I like the way they took it from the other end of the floor in a hurry. You have Cameron shooting the ball in the lane. he shoots about 76% of his shots from the three-point stripe. So that gave Purvis the opportunity to get out, run the floor, and Connecticut following up with some fast break transition opportunities.
L.J. Peak called on the foul for Georgetown. Rodney Purvis is a junior. Scoring numbers are there. He's now coming off the bench, but the last 3 games it's been a struggle. Not just for Purvis, the entire team offensively has just not shot it well over the last week and change.
Even their last game against Tulane, beating them 60-42. To your point a moment ago, Ian, defensively they clamped down. They played very good defense in that game, but really couldn't get the offense untracked.
UConn is 9-3 in non-conference play. Losses to Syracuse, Gonzaga, and Maryland. Jump shot doesn't go for Smith-Rivera. Huskies with a push. Purvis, nice find underneath. Layup is good. The freshman Jalen Adams did not get the start today, but he comes off the bench. And he gets right into the scoring column.
Connecticut goes to their version of the 1-2-2. Nice step in there. They get a layup down the other end.
Hamilton the flip, and Purvis the throwdown.
Both of these teams doing a nice job defensively, switching it up at both ends of the floor.
UConn on a 7-0 run. They lead Georgetown.
Connecticut showing their defense, and watch the middle of the floor where they're very aggressive in terms of trying to anticipate. They squeeze the 2-2. So when you have it in here, be sure that you make a good pass. So they're squeezing the floor, and there's not the good pass. Hamilton with the great reaction stepping in. That's one of the things that Hamilton does so well. He rebounds, he's active, he's always around the basketball. Good work in the defensive pressure.
Govan is in, so is Derrickson for Georgetown. Smith-Rivera gives it up. Peak looks to the interior. Inside, Derrickson misses on the layup. Derrickson follows, so he sticks with the play and uses the window. The freshman scores and cuts into the UConn lead.
Because that double team, Ian, came from the left side of the floor. 2 guys came across the double team him. When he got his shot up, there was no one on the left side for defensive rebounding, so good stay by him.
Hamilton working around the perimeter. The jump shot for Facey rolls out. Peak sets up the offense with under 12 minutes to play now in the first half.
I like what both of these teams are doing, Ian. They're both switching defenses from zones to man-to-man. The big guy up front. One of the points of emphasis for bigs, making sure you hold your ground.
Foul called up front. UConn with a 1-point lead. UConn 14, Georgetown 13 with 11:52 to play in this first half. We know that Winter Storm Jonas is wreaking havoc all over the place. And this is what Georgetown has decided to do. And this is a really smart way to handle it. We want to give you incentive. The more snow, the better it is for you, the customer. As the inches go up, the savings also go up on upcoming Georgetown games on the chill top. At some point, they may pay you to actually go to the game. If it hits like 35 inches, right now it's at 16 inches. So that's solid savings, Jimmy.
If I were down there, I think I'd like to see Georgetown come shovel my walk. Forget about
the steal. Peak flies in for the jam. L.J. Peak turning defense into offense for the Hoyas.
We've seen a couple of careless passes so far for UConn. Other than that, they've been playing toe-to-toe with Georgetown. And once again, we see a switch. Watch for the middle of the floor against this 2-3 zone. Will somebody slash? There you go.
Hoyas back in front. Jump shot from the corner is good. Rodney Purvis drains it. He's got 8.
All starts with Adams pushing that ball to the middle of the floor. It forces the defense to change, to react, to swing to the middle of the floor, opening up seams on the outside.
See if Georgetown can get Govan a touch here. They do on the outside.
Yeah, but clearly you know where they want to get him.
Smith-Rivera works out of trouble. Peak puts it on the floor. Zigzag move. That's a travel or a tie-up.
Yep.
And it's a tie-up. Possession arrow is in favor of UConn.
So one of the things that Peak will do well is he gets to the middle of the floor and slashes. Good hands from behind with Adams there, but he was forced into a triple team opportunity defensively there. You got to kick that one away.
Jimmy, that's 5 Georgetown turnovers We're not even 10 minutes into this first half. Georgetown only turned it over 11 times against Xavier.
An average 14 on the season.
Purvis, drive and kick. Hamilton, a three, bottom.
Well, that's a good sign, as you touched on when he hit his first shot, but he's just flaring out.
Quick answer, doesn't go for Derrickson. Ripped down by Hamilton.
Here's where he pushes.
In transition, gives it up. Stripped to the ball, Purvis out of bounds. Last touch by UConn.
So when you have a guy like Hamilton who rebounds the basketball as well as he does and can handle it, there's no need for an outlet pass. Even though when Kevin Ollie did mention before the game, if there are multiple guards on the floor, he wants him to give it up. And I think he handles it so well that he can push it. And by the way, Ian, he makes good decisions with the basketball. So if a forward was pushing it, you say, if he's going to turn it over, not so much. But he's pretty good with the ball.
Sterling Gibbs back in. Jalen Adams takes a seat. Sean Miller returns as well for UConn. Georgetown shooting at 40% from the field. The Huskies are at 50%. Smith-Rivera. And a push inside. It's going to work against the Huskies as Govan got shoved.
Purvis with the foul with a little drag. Defensively, they were out of sorts, but at the first part of the first 10 seconds, they weren't playing badly at the defensive end just then. Smith-Rivera had to take a shot that I thought was forced.
So we get a substitution. Jalen Adams back in. It's an extended 13-4 run for UConn. They lead it by 5. Officials over at the scorers table. And Georgetown ready to trigger in with Reggie Cameron. Here's Peak on the perimeter, defended by Calhoun. The Georgetown bench is averaging 22.3 points per game. Rimming in for Reggie Cameron.
That's the spot to be. Go to the foul line area. Get a guy not only who can catch and turn and shoot, but can make a play there. Good decision to react against his own.
Out of bounds. Adams felt it bounced off a Georgetown player.
Thought there might have been a deflection there also.
And the Hoyas take over. 9:22 mark of the first. Georgetown out of the Big East. 2 teams in the top 5 from the Big East currently, Villanova and Xavier. That's a fluid situation this year. And the jumper is good. L.J. Peak ties the game at 20.
He's been playing very well over his last 9 games. 6 of those games with double-figure points. Gives them a little spunk, driving to the basket and shooting it from the range.
All Big East Conference as a freshman, now in a sophomore season from Daphne, South Carolina. Hooking a pass inside, a foul called. Calhoun gets it to Miller. Here are the Big East standings. Villanova undefeated in the conference at 7-0. There's Georgetown at 5-2. Knocked off Xavier. By far their most impressive performance of the season for John Thompson, the third squad.
And everybody was thinking that Georgetown was, and they were selected preseason number 2 this season in the Big East. They struggled a little bit early on, and now where are they? Second in the Big East.
Second foul on Peak, the 15th foul against Georgetown.
I love the way these guys, both teams, are changing their defenses. If I were coaching and had a team, I would do the same exact thing almost every time down.
The lob, Miller, acrobatic play off the window, and a chance at a 3-point play.
And Derrickson on the baseline couldn't react quick enough as this ball is going to go up over the top. And there you see the body just a little late getting in. But once again, there's Hamilton's ability as a small forward to be able to do things with the ball. He brings guys away from him. You notice he was going to our right looking at that play, and he drifts it back to our left looking at it.
Kevin Ollie had nothing but praise for Sean Miller, saying he's the versatile forward that this team really needed a year ago, and that they can run their offense through Miller. Out of Euclid, Ohio, 3 years at Cornell, had a redshirt season, so that allowed him the graduate transfer after getting his degree.
And when you think about it, with him and Gibbs, two guys who are a year older with some experience and age.
Cameron, good looking stroke. He came in with that reputation. It's taken a little while for Reggie Cameron to find his sea legs at the collegiate level, but now it's starting to click from the outside.
And it is paying off for him, because you're right, he had to be patient.
Rodney Purvis connects from long range.
I guess I got to slip in with Cameron, and he went to Hudson Catholic High School, my alma mater, don't I?
Did he?
Why not? Good backdoor cut.
Inside. Derrickson with the finish and the foul.
Yeah, interesting enough, with Georgetown's offense, we haven't seen many opportunities to go against Connecticut's pressure with the backdoor cut. That was a beautiful delayed reaction.
Free throw coming up when we come back. First half action continues from Hartford. Game summary here at the XL Center. Both teams have shot it well. Three-point shooting has been a factor as well, with UConn in front 26-25. Ian Eagle along with Jim Spinarco. Good action so far for these two teams. It feels like they should be in the same conference. They aren't anymore.
I was thinking the same exact thing. Different conferences, but the competition level, the energy level is there, just like the old days. Purvis doing a nice job in terms of being active for their team. And, you know, the other thing, too, is I mentioned it a couple of times. The switching defenses have been very, very good. Both of these teams, each and every time down the floor, it seems as if one time they're man-to-man, the next time zone. And what that does with that new 30-second clock, it makes your guards think just a couple of extra seconds. Hey, what defense am I coming up against? And I think guys are doing that well in terms of designing it to take time off the clock and forcing the offenses to get into it a little bit more quickly when the shot clock starts to wind down on them.
Marcus Derrickson gets the free throw to go, and we're tied at 26. 7:25 to play in the first half. The back end. Miller, the turnaround, rims out, rebounded by Hayes, who's back in there for Georgetown.
That double team has to come quicker on Miller down on the blocks, because he'll jump over people for his shot.
Derrickson isn't shy. Side of the rim. The run out. Purvis will back it out as Georgetown had good floor balance defensively. Gibbs gets the offense started. Now it's Hamilton out front. Hamilton works his way inside. Misses badly. Not sure if that was a pass for Kenton Facey.
Those are the ones where Hamilton, and I'm not sure either, but when he gets in the middle of traffic like that, that's where he's been having some problems, not being patient enough to make sure he gets a good look before he just lets it fly.
Georgetown had early season losses to Radford, Monmouth, and UNC Asheville. Cameron misses from long range.
Well, they better find him. He gets that look, he's going to knock that one down.
There's Gibbs on a cross.
Nice little hesitation, shoulders, getting Hayes to budge. Here's a little small versus big matchup.
Gibbs strokes it, connects. It's a triple for Sterling Gibbs.
Nice reaction by Gibbs. Normally, small guy wants to attack the big. Hayes stays back 5 feet, and Gibbs just sets him up a little bit for that jumper.
Strong perimeter skills. Gibbs shooting 39% from three-point territory. UConn is 5 of 7 from downtown in this first half. Huskies lead by 3. Smith Rivera has been quiet. 8 to shoot. Skip pass. Shot clock's down to 5. It's a kick for Campbell. Off the window, Trey Campbell driving into the teeth of the UConn defense.
Right, Facey was a factor defensively, forcing Campbell to go up just a little bit higher on that run.
UConn's lead is 1. 5.5 to go in this first half. Hamilton's made a couple of threes. Tries to get around Cameron. Off-balance delivery, and a foul is called. Wednesday, 7 Eastern on CBS Sports Network. The road to the Final Four continues. Big East action. Blue Demons of DePaul travel to Indianapolis to take on number 18, Butler, at historic Hinkle Fieldhouse, only on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Butler's a good example in the Big East, too, Ian, with a team that started out much higher, but the conference games, they're starting to beat one another up, as with most conferences across the United States.
17 fouls against Georgetown. Cameron called on his first. Hamilton tacks on another. We'll get a change here. Omar Calhoun is in, a senior from Brooklyn, replaces Daniel Hamilton, the sophomore from Los Angeles.
So now they take Campbell to the point. Allow Smith Rivera to move around off screens.
Splits defenders, kick out, Copeland open look. Off the rim, big rebound, Hayes. Just too big in there for UConn to handle. Foul was called before his shot. Georgetown is now 3 of 11 from three-point territory. Here's a look at the American standings right now. SMU, number 8 in the country. Remember, though, not eligible for the postseason. So Central Florida in the mix, UConn, Tulsa, Temple. Still a lot of basketball to be played.
Plenty, which is fun, too. I mean, it's a great season this year. You don't have that one team out there like Kentucky.
Do you like that?
Oh, I love that.
You like the parity?
You know, because I think when you have one team, as we've seen with Kentucky, it's a great year, right? But to talk about beating them, I think it's more about the entire field, and I think you'll see that this year. I think it's going to be a blast this year.
Campbell missing on the scoop to the hoop. Purvis gives it up. UConn leads at 31-28. Gibbs has a screen set by Enoch. Jumper Calhoun, no good. And it's rebounded by Hayes, the 7-footer.
He just stays around the glass defensively. Does the proper work to fill up the middle of the floor.
Caleb Johnson is in for Georgetown. And the Hoyas turn it over.
What did Kevin Ollie talk about? And John Thompson knows he has to challenge this at the offensive end, but Kevin said that his defense on the perimeter was very, very good, and we are seeing just that.
Four players averaging 12 points or more for UConn. One of them is Sterling Gibbs, taking it hard to the hole.
Terrific understanding of when to go to the basket. How about the little tuck around so the big guy couldn't block it? That's going to go the other way.
Contact. Copeland left his feet trying to dish it off. And you see Brima reacting, leading the charge for UConn off the bench and keeping the energy alive.
Gibbs breaking people down. Terrific energy on the floor and off.
It's over. The West Virginia Mountaineers have knocked off the #1 rated Kansas Jayhawks.
Costello at the buzzer! No! And Wisconsin pulls the upset.
And Iowa State is knocked off the #1 team in the country, Oklahoma.
It's already been a topsy-turvy season. January has been wild. 9 total losses by teams in the top 5. Losses by #1 teams in back-to-back weeks. Oklahoma and Kansas, and 2 #4 ranked teams each lost twice. Michigan State and Virginia. Michigan State was one of the top-ranked teams in the country. They've dropped all the way down in the Big Ten standings. The final goal, of course, is to get that national championship. UConn went on an incredible run. Shabazz Napier leading the way 2 years ago.
And what you're seeing, I think, this year in the larger conferences, probably the top 3 or 4 teams are generally very, very good at home, too. So even when they're good at home and they have to go on the road, they're running into competition on these away games. Like when you go to West Virginia, I don't care how good you are. You're going to have your hands full going in there with Bob Huggins' team year by year.
Oh, what a play by Sterling Gibbs. He dragged the big man with him, Hayes, but had enough of an opening to finish around the rim.
And he finished it coming from underneath, not over the top.
UConn's got its largest lead. Foul called on the other end, and it's Enoch.
And watch the way Gibbs takes that ball and doesn't bring it up like a traditional shot, but he brings it up off the dribble and goes underhand. That's the fastest way to get it to the glass, especially if you have a big guy tracking you for a potential block.
Daniel Hamilton back in. He replaces Omar Calhoun. 6th team foul against UConn. 3:23 to play in this first half. It's a 7-point advantage for the Huskies. They get it in. It's an open look. Cameron, book it, a 3.
Nice patience, too, by Georgetown. Get it out. I thought Hayes made a real good decision. At first, I thought he was going to have a little 8-foot jump shot in there, but that defense converged on him, and he kicked it around the horn.
10 points for Cameron. He averages 7 per game. And he cuts the UConn lead to 4. Under 3 minutes to play now. First half. Purvis, the dribble drive. The follow, no good, but a foul. Enoch got hit from behind. So the freshman from Norwalk, Connecticut, will head to the free throw line. Second foul on Copeland for Georgetown. Enoch shooting it at 50%, local product. Size and strength at 6'11", 245. Coming up, AT&T at the half. Adam Zucker, Seth Davis. We'll get you caught up on what's going on today in college basketball and preview Game 2 of our triple header, Duke and NC State. That's coming up on AT&T at the half. 1 out of 2 for Enoch.
One of the things that Kevin Ollie stressed also before the game is how he would like his team to continue to attack the rim, and that's what they've been doing the last 3 or 4 possessions.
And a foul called on the outside. That's going to be team foul number 7 on UConn. So 1-1 coming up for Georgetown. Triple header today on CBS, not only here on CBS Sports, but you can catch all the college basketball action on CBSSports.com. We've got it streaming for you throughout the day. 1-1 here for Trey Campbell. Shoots it at 75%. Washington, D.C. native. Out of St. John's College High School. He's part of the sophomore class that John Thompson III, before the season started, said the sophomore class would help lead the way. It's taken some time. By his own admission, JT3, they're just starting to get to that point where they're feeling comfortable in more of a lead.
And clearly, as we knock on the door of February, that's a great time to start to mature and get to know one another and get comfortable on the floor, because this is a very, very young team, 4th youngest in the Big East. And so they're starting to come around and getting some activity, because they do have a couple of big-time leaders up front.
36-33 UConn. Deep 3. Hamilton back of the iron. Stepping in for the rebound is Campbell.
They're so sure that's the shot they want.
Smith Rivera has been limited to 3 points on 3 field goal attempts. The jumper short. Rebound snared by Hamilton, and UConn will take the air out of the ball here, slow things down with 1:55 to play, first half. Kevin Ollie shouting out instructions to Gibbs and Purvis.
To the middle of the floor, though, against this zone.
Working the baseline. Gibbs circles. 6 on the timer. That's a long 3. Purvis. Rebound. Hayes battles for it and comes away with a loose ball for Georgetown.
I think they forgot all about the middle of the floor with Miller. He's wide open in there. They got to get him the ball, let him do something with it.
Hayes asking for it. Smith Rivera goes to the other side. Now on the high post. 15 to shoot. We approach 1 minute to play, first half. Hot hand. Doesn't continue for Cameron.
Nice work.
But they save it to the other team. Hamilton shake and bake move. Dishes to the corner.
Bring it out. Settle it up a little bit at the offensive end here. There you go. Wait it out.
UConn's got a 3-point lead. Under a minute to play in this first half, and a timeout taken by Kevin Ollie.
Guess Ollie agreed with us there on that one.
That's really settling it out.
One of the things, if you start hitting the shots and you're Hamilton, you get those looks. He's been struggling shooting the ball, but this opens up the middle of the floor. Gibbs knocking one back also, but we've seen those 3-point shots allow guys then to bring the defenders towards them a little bit and run right by them to the lane. So you take a look, 7 for 15 from 2, and good work from 3-point stripe at 50%.
On the season, UConn shoots it at 36% from long range. Georgetown, 37%. UConn has won 8 of its last 10 games. They've gone 7-2 without Amita Brima. Shot clock down to 8. Ball fake. Miller got contact, and he scores on the interior.
And a beautiful reload after the contact, too. Baseline. Look to the baseline. Look to the middle of the floor. You'll have some action.
UConn up by 5. 9-second difference. Shot clock to game clock. We're winding down in the first half. Cameron's had the green light. Rebounded by Purvis. UConn could hold for 1 here.
What they like to do, let's see if it's a zone look. I just can't believe they're not going to flash somebody to the middle.
8 seconds left. Screen, Miller. Gibbs makes his move. The drive, knocked away, and a foul. Hayes came over defensively to deal with the quick Sterling Gibbs.
So he comes around the corner. He's looking for beautiful. I mean, that's exactly what a guard is supposed to do. Just find the body. You want to make sure you get to the free throw line as your first option just then, because you know you're not going to get that over the big guy.
And Gibbs is a hybrid. He's not a natural point guard, and he's not necessarily a natural two guard. He's somewhere in the middle, can handle the ball, can play off the ball. He's played for 3 schools. Texas, 1 year there, transferred to Seton Hall, 2 years with the Pirates playing for them. Sat out the transfer year, and now using his graduate year here at UConn. At the horn, almost goes for Campbell. UConn's got a 7-point lead, equaling their largest of the first half, and we hit the break here in Hartford. 40-33, the Huskies over the Hoyas. Much more still to come. Right now, we send it to Adam Zucker in New York.
Thanks, Ian. Coming up on AT&T at the half, Seth Davis joins me for first half analysis, and we'll update you on what's going on today after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports college basketball coverage is sponsored by Sonic. This is how you Sonic. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of chocolate and peanut butter. And by USAA. Join us at saluttoservice.com. Just about set for second half action here in Hartford. 40-33. UConn's got the lead. Ian Eagle along with Jim Spinarkle. Really good action here between these two teams. Georgetown, though, did struggle offensively. Didn't have a field goal over the final 3 minutes and change. Good UConn defense, or is it struggling Hoyas offense?
I think Georgetown has to get more touches with their bigs down on the blocks. When they had those early, they were able to kick it out for more clearer shots down in the outside. So one of the things they have to do is focus down there, get the touches, and let the big guys operate. Cameron has been getting some looks. He's been 4 for 10 from the floor, has 10 points. So he has to keep shooting. Even though some of them have bounced out for him, he's gotten good looks. Everything looks fine in terms of his shot in the rotation. The other side, Purvis gave them a terrific lift with his 11 points. The activity, the shooting of the basketball, busting down the floor a couple of times to drag people with him. So I think they're going to get a little bit more aggressive on the blocks if you're Georgetown.
As we take a look at our Coca-Cola first half stats, Georgetown limited to 40% from the field. UConn shot 50%, including 5 of 10 from three-point territory. More opportunities at the free throw line for the Huskies, 11. Compare that to Georgetown, 5 out of 5. Georgetown with the basketball to start play in this second half. UConn is 13-5. Georgetown 12-7. On the dish, it is tracked down by Copeland. This is how they started the game to Hayes. The hook shot, no. Copeland over the top with the rebound. Stick back doesn't go.
I like the start, though. Get Hayes that touch. He can make that shot from either block. And Copeland gets a second opportunity, and it's close, so 2 right off the bat. Georgetown doesn't come away with a bucket, but I think their message has been sent. Sterling
Gibbs has experience against Georgetown when he was with Seton Hall. A foul called. Little shove. Sean Miller made his move into the paint. Reggie Cameron, his second foul. UConn has shot it at 27% from three-point territory over its last 4 games. Quite a different story here today. Kevin Ollie uses a timeout just 40 seconds into the second half. Huskies up by 7 on the Hoyas. Tomorrow, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning meet for the 17th time. The Patriots and the Broncos square off the AFC Championship. It all starts with a game that'll take you all the way to Super Bowl 50, the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines. Winner moves on to the Super Bowl. Brady and Manning, maybe the final chapter for these two going head-to-head. The Patriots and the Broncos, the NFL on CBS tomorrow. UConn and Georgetown today here in Hartford. Huskies have a 40-33 lead. We're just underway in the second half.
One thing Kevin Ollie did not want to do just then is call that timeout, but his team was not prepared to get the ball in bounds. That's something they worked on the court before this game even began.
Calhoun got the start today instead of Jalen Adams. Jump shot for Gibbs. Rims out. Rebound. Miller. And a tie-up. Possession arrow to Georgetown. Copeland got his hands on it for the Hoyas. Make it to UConn. They'll maintain possession with just over a minute gone by in this second half. Hamilton triggers in for Nolan. They get a new shot clock out of it. Squeezing through, Miller is fouled.
See, that's one of the things they failed to do in the first half, is to flash Miller into the middle of the lane, especially against the zone where it's very effective to get a guy who can put it on the deck and make something happen with it.
So that's 3 fouls now on Bradley Hayes, and Getz will check in when he's allowed. After the Sean Miller free throw, shoots it at 75%. Does a little bit of everything for this Huskies team. So here's the experience. Miller, Purvis, and Gibbs. Gibbs and Miller, graduate transfers. Purvis leaving NC State after his freshman season, and all 3 key contributors for Kevin Ollie. But it's taken some time for this team to gel.
Yeah, some adjustments had to be made, but there's no substitution for the talent and having experience at the same time. You know that the experience is going to help your young guys catch up.
It's the flip side of the one and done, where you get a lot of talent, you don't get a whole lot of experience, and then they're gone after 1 year. Copeland lines it up. Got a good look at it. Long rebound to DSR. Jump shot is good. Devontae Smith-Rivera from deep.
And you see it happen so many times on a loose ball, a scramble, or a long offensive rebound. That's generally when you'll get your best look, so you better take it.
UConn had its largest lead.
Good pass off by Hamilton. He was in trouble.
Crossover. Calhoun had it deflected. Calhoun fighting for it. And a push on Calhoun as Trey Campbell got knocked to the floor. Wednesday on CBS, it's where young doctors learn to be great doctors. Code Black. New episode Wednesday at 10, 9 Central on CBS. 41-36 Huskies. The curl. Smith-Rivera dishes to the corner. Jump shot doesn't go for Campbell. Defensive rebound to Calhoun.
They like to run that little high weave to try to break somebody down off the dribble. They got the shot they want. Last game out, Campbell is knocking those back.
Gibbs directing traffic. Nolan out high. 17 and a half to play in this second half. UConn up by 5. Here's Calhoun. Kick out. Gibbs. Off the rim. Rebound controlled by Peak for Georgetown.
They got to get some action down on the blocks.
It's Peak. Buries it. A 3. L.J. Peak shooting it at 36% from beyond the arc.
And the touch to Govan. Just get some touches down on the blocks. Either let the big guys operate, or they're both very good at kicking the ball out. But you must address that.
And just like that, it's a 2-point game. UConn front. Using the screen set by Miller. Gibbs swings it to that spot. Hamilton accelerates, gives it up. Nolan on the inside, and a foul was called.
Yeah, call on Hamilton coming through the middle of the lane before the shot and pass. But watch when you get your touches. If you get your touch down low, good things will happen. Especially when you're running a defensive double team to the blocks.
So that's 3 on Cameron, but it takes an easy bucket away from UConn. Hamilton had the setup underneath to Nolan. Nice look. Miller is fouled. He was in between 2 defenders, Cameron and Govan. And Miller used his body, a little lean to the left. Take your pick.
Yeah, Govan gets him first, and then Cameron runs into him because of the push. It's a little sandwich action.
And it's the 4th team foul. Free throws coming here for Sean Miller. If they give that foul to Reggie Cameron, that's going to be number 4.
They just switched it then.
It's Cameron. And Cameron remains on the floor. I think he's looking for an explanation. He's now going to head to the bench. Replaced by freshman Marcus Derrickson.
He's just saying that he turned into the play. I think it was such a bang play, but I think he was the I think there were 2 fouls there, by the way. Govan with the first one and then him with the second.
So Cameron, who had the hot hand in the first half, still making his case to the coaching staff and to his teammates.
We know he's not going to win that one, though.
Campbell handles it. UConn's lead is 4. Smith Rivera swings it. Derrickson just into the game, and he's fouled on the outside by Hamilton. So that's number 2 on the talented sophomore Daniel Hamilton.
Connecticut's pressure has been very good on the outside, and generally what that leads to is a backdoor cut in the Georgetown offense. They haven't been able to find too many of those.
High screen set by Govan. Smith Rivera, a little flip.
Yep.
He was looking for a foul.
And he was out of control.
Purvis right down the middle. Missed it on the twisting, curling layup. Smith Rivera, yes, a 3.
More his type of shot, even though he can make it go into the basket. A little out of control last trip. Good pull-up. May have been some contact for the Connecticut drive for Purvis down the other end.
UConn does not have a field goal in the second half. Their lead is 1. Out of sorts here offensively.
And that's because of the switching defenses.
Gibbs stripped of the ball and a foul. He took it right at Derrickson. We get a timeout. Devontae Smith Rivera. It feels like he's been at Georgetown for 8 years. He's still producing. 43-42, UConn leading Georgetown. Right now, we take a look at the AT&T Fast Analysis.
And we'll revisit Daniel Hamilton, the ability to do so much for his team. He knocked back 2 long shots from the three-point stripe, but defensively, he's always around the basketball, knows how to rebound and pass. Here's his second long 3, and when he's hitting that, he's a different type of player. Finds his teammates very, very unselfish. He just controls himself in the lane a little bit better. His numbers will continue to rise.
You think UConn could use another shooter? Because there's a guy available. This guy, during the timeout. Oh, it's good.
I love it.
Half-court heave for cash money.
$1,000.
How about that?
That was... With the way they played, he got as many shots as he could in a time limit at half court. I watched his first shot, which was way left and off by a lot, and then he came back and hit that shot. This place went nuts when it went through.
The officials came together during that timeout. They have changed that foul that was called on Cameron, and it was on Govan. So 3 fouls on Cameron for Georgetown. 43-42 UConn. Leaning in. Foul is called. Purvis going to the rim with a purpose.
And Purvis gets the benefit of the Miller partial screen in the middle of the lane to keep Govan away from him.
So Rodney Purvis back to the free throw line. 16 fouls against Georgetown. We're at the 15-23 mark of this second half. If UConn can remain aggressive, they could make a living at the free throw line the rest of the way. 3 fouls on Govan for Georgetown.
My guess is that they know that, and they will continue to drive it as much as possible. That was one of the things from a strategy standpoint they like to do. Both sides of the floor in attack.
Out on the perimeter, Derrickson. Just about 5 minutes gone by in the second half.
Combination of aggressive defense out front and making sure their individual players don't cut behind them.
Timer is down to 5. Derrickson lets it rip. Off the back of the iron. Kept alive by Peak and knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Georgetown. Substitution here. Philip Nolan in. Sean Miller will get a breather for the Huskies. Well, the UConn defense was excellent against Tulane, limiting the Green Wave to 26% from the field. They forced 16 turnovers. Georgetown shooting it at 38%. UConn leads by 3. Jalen Adams back in. Crossover. Hamilton. Ball fake. No call. He was looking for a lean-in foul.
He didn't get it, but that's the type of call that he's not getting. It's trouble.
Campbell turns it over. And then frustration. He's called for the foul. That's 17 fouls against Georgetown, and we've got 14:22 to play.
So this is just total out of control. Good penetration, defense from behind.
So that will send Sterling Gibbs to the free throw line, and he shoots it at 87%.
Well, that is a big number, though, with the 17 fouls with this much time left in the game at 14:22.
1-1. First meeting between these two teams in 3 years since UConn changed conferences, now part of the American Athletic Conference. Georgetown a part of the new look Big East. And this is the final regular season non-conference game. So where it pops up in the schedule, you've started your conference schedule, but you go back in time a bit and go against an old-time conference rival, and a little bit of a barometer as to where you stand.
Because of the strength of Connecticut's conference versus the Big East, or less thereof in terms of quality win potential games that they have, this is a huge game for them against Georgetown.
Shot clock's winding down. Peak, he nails it. Bails out the Georgetown offense with a bucket just as the shot clock was hitting 0. UConn has taken advantage of the free throw line. 16 of 19, 84%. Hamilton, the jump shot. Rebounded by Peak and looking to run.
Means Georgetown has to keep the hands down and the bodies away, especially on the drives.
UConn still does not have a field goal in the second half. All of their offenses come at the free throw line. Peak makes his move. Oh, Peak knifing in for 2.
Nobody on the weak side helping out. Peak recognizing a seam on the left side of the floor. One of the few times that UConn has given up an easy layup and transition in terms of going from left side to right side and back again.
1-point lead for UConn. Hamilton puts it on the floor. The floater, no. Follow, goes down. Philip Nolan crashing the boards.
Nolan gives them a good lift, especially off the glass, mostly on the defensive end. Once again, a bit of a wild attempt by Hamilton, but he tracks that down off the glass.
49-46, UConn. Smith-Rivera thought about it, now takes it. Rims out on a 3-ball. Georgetown gets back defensively. UConn up by 3. We approach 12 minutes to go in this second half.
And with the high screen quite a bit just then again.
Gibbs, drive, and a giveaway. The acceleration, look at the speed. Campbell, no call, the save. Excellent one. Derrickson keeps this Georgetown possession alive. Jump shot. It's good. Trey Campbell from the corner. A triple.
You know, he was thinking that he got bumped and there was some contact going to the basket on that triple. What does he do? He doesn't sit down and worry. He gets back up and goes to where he can shoot the ball well from the corners.
Purvis a spin. He pulled the string on it. Purvis thought he was hit on the arm.
Yeah, it may have been a deflection one way or the other.
Georgetown can regain the lead. We're tied at 49.
Big has to slip to the middle of the floor. There he goes.
Smith-Rivera.
There you go.
Go Van! The throwdown!
He finally get that look to go, Ian. He sets a good hard screen up top, but he's not moving. He holds the defender on his hip and then slices to the middle of the floor. Well executed.
It's a 9-2 run for the Hoyas. 51-49 Georgetown. 11 minutes to play in the second half. Hesitation move. It's blocked, but a foul. Gibbs was denied by Govan. But contact.
So Georgetown trying to get the high screen and the big fella to slip. They finally get it to go up a pair.
CBS Sports college basketball coverage is sponsored by the Quicksilver Card from Capital One. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Tight one here in Hartford. Georgetown up by 2. Big day of college basketball coming up next. ACC, Duke visits NC State. Then the Pac-12, UCLA meets Oregon right here on the road to the Final Four. CBS Sports. We've got Daniel Hamilton here with UConn. His brother Isaac Hamilton, a standout for UCLA. It's a pretty good time for Hamilton's. Hamilton's a Broadway hit, smash hit.
There you go. Pretty good combination right there with their numbers.
It's a talented family. Daniel Hamilton, youngest of 6 children. Jordan Hamilton played with the Denver Nuggets and the Houston Rockets. Gary Hamilton played at the University of Miami. Sister that played college basketball. Gibbs is 5 of 5 at the free throw line. Gibbs comes from a talented family as well. Brother Ashton was a star at Pittsburgh. TJ will be attending Notre Dame, a big-time recruit out of New Jersey. And we're tied at 51. Bradley Hayes back in for Georgetown.
So when their big guy slips to the middle, they generally get a free look.
Derrickson missing from the corner. Hamilton's got it for the Huskies. Gibbs calls out a play. 10.5 remaining. Miller being watched by Peak. Campbell draws the assignment on Gibbs. Hamilton, the drive. Gives it up. Shot clock winding down. Purvis to the hop. Boom. And it's knocked around and going the other way. Purvis could not finish around the rim. Now, this is one of the biggest teams that Georgetown has had, and one of the biggest teams that Kevin Ollie's squad will see.
And they just figured that last trip they needed to stop defensively, and all 5 guys participated in the help defense.
Kick it out for Campbell. We're past the midway point of the second half. Hayes, the back end.
You can go both hands.
Left hand for Hayes, and a chance for 3. Bradley Hayes. He was humbled by riding the bench all those years, and now that he's gotten an opportunity, he's making the most of it.
Now, more times than not, he likes to be able to shoot that little right-hand jump hook on the baseline, but what does he do? He mixes it up just a little bit, goes to the left, and ends up getting to the line also to finish off the 3-point play.
He has worked very hard to get to this point in his career where he's a legitimate contributor, and he gives Georgetown a 3-point lead. Hoyas have not missed to the free throw line. 6 of 6. 21 attempts at the stripe for UConn. Little shake and bake from Gibbs. Hamilton, fend off, leans in. Now that's a pro move in many ways.
It's a pro ball fake, too. Throw that ball up in the air. Watch how high this ball comes up. You get it over your shoulders is pretty good. You get it to your head level and above, there's no way a defender's going to stay behind.
And that's 4 fouls on Peak. 3 free throws for Hamilton with a chance to tie this game up.
Shoots it at 85% on the season. And that's because in the first half, if you recall, Ian, he hit 2 long 3-point shots. So defensively, you're saying, okay, he's been more effective out there than he has been in the lane this afternoon.
He was the American Athletic Conference Rookie of the Year last season, now in his sophomore year. Monday on CBS, an out-of-this-world threat will push the Girl of Steel to the edge. New episode, Supergirl, Monday at 8, 7 Central, only CBS.
Takes advantage of the 3.
11 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists for Hamilton. We are tied at 54 in Hartford.
And it's just a straight-up pressure. I like the decision, too. Make Georgetown think about what defense you're throwing at them.
Spotting up in the corner. Doesn't go for Derrickson, and it's going the other way. Marcus Derrickson has been struggling with that shot. 0 of 4 from three-point territory before that miss. So now 0 of 5 for Derrickson. We got a change here as Caleb Johnson will check in, freshman from South Hill, Virginia. UConn is just 1 of 10 from the field in this half. They've been living at the stripe. Purvis off the rim from three-point territory. Under 9 minutes to play. Hayes out high. Smith Rivera, pull-up pop, short, long rebound. Purvis on the push. Purvis right down the middle. The follow won't go, and Gibbs is fouled. Purvis has had the right idea time and time again, but unable to finish in this second half.
When you're coming down the floor like that, you're thinking, what is the defender doing? If he's backpedaling and cannot get a good spot on the floor, you continue to challenge. A terrific follow-up, though, without Connecticut just sitting back thinking that might be a layup that goes. Good work by Gibbs to follow that up to get to the line.
Third foul on Trey Campbell. Sterling Gibbs. 6 of 6 from the stripe. UConn up by 1. Substitution as Omar Calhoun will check in. So it's Gibbs, Calhoun, Miller, Hamilton, and Nolan for UConn. Johnson, Smith Rivera, Campbell, Derrickson, and Hayes for Georgetown. .15 points for Gibbs. Rejected Miller, but a foul.
Experienced play there by Smith Rivera. Understanding that his team hasn't been able to score very easily at the offensive end. What does he do? He sacrifices himself around the corner, draws the contact. The shot is blocked, but the foul occurs on the first guy down low.
Number 3 on Philip Nolan. Smith Rivera shoots it at 80% from the line. So the foul trouble for Georgetown. Peak with 4. Campbell, Hayes, Cameron, and Govan all with 3. Nolan heads to the UConn bench. Second attempt for Smith Rivera. Rims out. Rebounded by Kenton Facey, who's now in for Nolan.
Comes a little action by Connecticut. Get bodies moving a little bit. Open up some seams.
First miss from the line for Georgetown. Oof. Miller had it knocked away. Tracked down by Calhoun. Shot clock's down to 10.
He's good with the ball.
Gibbs, that's a deep 3. Rebound. It's Caleb Johnson for Georgetown, and now he needs some help.
He couldn't get to the ball. Did you notice how he spanked it down to the floor to get one dribble and then gathered it in? That's a smart play.
Smith Rivera gives it up. Hayes, 2-man game. Smith Rivera for 2. And it's rebounded by Miller. Quick outlet for Gibbs.
Good balance by Georgetown.
Connecticut is 1 of 14 from the field in the second half, yet they have a 1-point lead with 7.5 remaining. Gibbs watched by Cameron. Crossover Gibbs. Kick out. Hamilton doesn't take the 3. Into the paint. The floater, no good. UConn can't buy one.
And they get a decent look again for Hamilton. I think once again, I said it in the first half. Gather yourself up. If you know your shot's not going to get blocked, hold it just a second longer to get a good look.
Campbell circles out of trouble. Cameron, bottom on a 3.
He was shaking his head in the first half with 3 three-point shots that he had that were wide open that did not go down for him. Finally, he gets it to go down here in the second half.
13 points for Reggie Cameron, the junior from Hackensack, New Jersey. 58-56 Georgetown. Taken away. Gibbs had it stripped by Caleb Johnson. Johnson on the move.
That's telegraphed from half court, that one. Offensive foul.
Caleb Johnson got it done on the defensive end, but wanted to do it himself on the offensive end. Cameron from long range puts Georgetown in front by 2. Game summary, Georgetown up 2 on UConn. Free throw shooting, 26 attempts for the Huskies, just 8 for Georgetown. UConn struggling in this second half. Iron Eagle, along with Jim Spinarkle, these two schools decided to play a home and home. So this is the first part of it. They'll play in D.C. next year. Sign a 10-year deal. Like, make this happen. They belong on the same court together.
It's a lot of fun for us calling the game, a lot of fun for the people here. And one of the things about Georgetown, coming off a good win against Xavier, that was a rough game. They played tough basketball. It wasn't the prettiest. And John Thompson, if you recall, Ian, before the game, talking about where his team had troubles during the course of games earlier in the year, from the 9-minute mark to the 4-minute mark. He's in that window right now, but they've been doing a pretty good job of hanging in there.
For the lead, Purvis, an air ball.
Oh, I don't see that. That missed wide left towards the middle of the floor badly for Purvis.
UConn shot 50% in the first half. They are shooting 6%. 6.
I heard you.
In the
6.
second half. I just had to remind myself.
That's why I'm glad I'm sitting here.
Shot clock is down to 10.
Little jump hook coming one way.
Hayes, left hand. Bradley Hayes puts Georgetown in front by 4.
The beauty of Hayes' game, Ian, is that you can call out a jump hook and take a chance, whether right or left. If he's in the middle of the lane, he will take it with his right, but a beautiful job going left just then.
Where will UConn get its offense from? Is it Miller? Body bump. The shake, the deuce.
I think you have to run it Miller. I think he's got that elevation where he can not only elevate, but he extends with that right hand. Next time he touches that basketball down low, I'm sure they'll run a double team at him, just like they're doing here for Hayes.
Early offense to Hayes, works out of it. Campbell lines it up, off the back of the iron. Offensive rebound, Hayes, and a foul.
Well, a couple of things there for Hayes. Catching the ball, posting up nicely, not seeing a shot, kicking it back out, and then doing the work on the glass.
Never miss a moment with the CBS Sports app. Every play and every score for basketball, football, and all your favorite sports. Download the CBS Sports app now. 5 team fouls, second on Facey. We approach 5 minutes to play.
There's the double team. Oh, nice move on the baseline.
Hayes pirouettes, knocked away from Cameron, and a steal. Sterling Gibbs dishes. Purvis lays it in.
And that was a tremendous defensive play by Calhoun. Closing in for that double team on Hayes down low, triggering the fast break.
Purvis has 15. We are tied at 60. Johnson gives up his dribble. Campbell with 9 to shoot. Into the hands of Smith Rivera, the co-captain.
Wow.
Oh, off the window. DSR with the creativity.
Wow, what a shot going away from the basket. You knew he was going to try to get something up. Man, that's the guy, the leader that you want handling the basketball.
62 to 60, and a foul called on Reggie Cameron. He was trying to defend Miller before he got the basketball.
You get a little token screen up front, and that's Nolan defensively at 6'7", trying to stop him, but he veers to his right to use the glass to put one down.
So now that is the 4th on Cameron. He had one changed earlier. And it sends Sean Miller to the free throw line. Sat out his junior season with a shoulder injury. Following surgery, that allowed him the extra year to attend UConn. And it rims out on the first attempt. 75% on the season.
And he was first team All-Ivy sophomore year and senior year. And then to that injury, he had his junior year, because what a career he was having.
Trying to cut the Georgetown lead to 1. Miller hits. 4:13 to play. 62-61. Georgetown leading UConn. Smith Rivera gives it up. 15 to shoot.
Nice crossover with the basketball.
Timer's down to 10. Cameron thought about it. Shot clock down to 6. Smith-Rivera, the step back. No good. And it's rebounded by Purvis.
Well, the step back, when you take a step back like that, you have to make sure you go stronger with the basketball in your shot and loft it even higher.
UConn trying to go back in front. Calhoun on a dump down for Miller.
Got to go back to him, I think.
Kick out. Calhoun off the rim on a three. And controlled by Georgetown. Hayes clears.
Cameron with those 4 fouls. I think they'd go at him a little bit.
Peak tripped on the perimeter. So a foul called at the 3:08 mark of this second half. It's a 1-point game in Hartford. Timeout. Game reset. Georgetown 62, UConn 61. We've got 3:08 to play here. Timeouts. Georgetown with 3 of them. UConn has 2. UConn has been in the double bonus for an eternity. Possession arrow favors Georgetown, and the Hoyas have the basketball. Jimmy, balanced scoring here for Georgetown has been a big key. With Smith-Rivera 12, Cameron has 13, Peak has 12, and Hayes has 9. Hoyas looking for a road victory, last non-conference game of the season. Smith-Rivera, a floater off the mark.
Well defended, and to that point, Ian, with the balance that they've had, I think both of these teams like the fact that they can go to multiple guys on the floor in their offensive sets. But keep in mind, the point guards are going to have that basketball when the shot clock starts to go against them. Here comes one right here.
A lot of activity out front. Gibbs was going to get an open look, and it's Campbell who gets charged with a foul in traffic. That's number 4 on Trey Campbell. It will send Philip Nolan to the free throw line. He shoots it at 75%. The senior from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Started on the national championship team 2 years ago, inserted into the starting lineup, and then Kevin Ollie stuck with it through the NCAA tournament. Daniel Hamilton back in. He replaces Omar Calhoun. We are tied at 62. 8th tie for UConn and Georgetown here this afternoon. Nolan hits on a pair at 63-62 Huskies.
Kevin Ollie wants Hamilton on the floor for multiple reasons. His rebounding, his defense, his ability to make the pass.
Peak drops it inside. Knocked away from Hayes. Out of bounds. Last touch by Georgetown. It ricocheted off the big man.
And Nolan a factor defensively. And trying to get Hayes involved, which is smart with their offense. Good position. He just doesn't catch it cleanly. It rolls right off the leg.
63-62, UConn. There's Hamilton looking down low for Miller. A discard. Miller off the glass and in. Sean Miller converts.
That's why you get him the touches. He's very talented on the blocks. Defensively, Cameron goes for the flop in terms of defense. What a beautiful ball fake on the second move in the post area for Miller to get his bucket.
15 points, 7 rebounds for Miller. A timeout called. UConn's on a 9-2 run. They lead it by 3. XL Center here in Hartford. Apparently Kim Kardashian's very excited. 65-62. The Huskies in front with 2:02 remaining in the second half. UConn and Georgetown.
I think you just play patient basketball if you're Georgetown. Don't rush into anything. Make sure you're setting good, solid screens so you don't get called for a moving one.
Cameron gives it up. Peak. 2-man game with Cameron. 10 to shoot. Now Hayes gets a touch. Kick out. The jumper doesn't go for Smith-Rivera. UConn controls it. They've got a 3-point lead with possession. 1:35 to play.
Sometimes you get stuck at that 3-point line. When you're down 3, that number sticks in your mind. Georgetown definitely has to try to just drag the ball to the middle of the floor, drag it at the basket and attack.
Gibbs Gets a screen set from Nolan. Uses it. Gibbs, the jump shot. Off the rim. It doesn't go. And Hayes comes up with the rebound for Georgetown.
Fans wanted to travel, but the official said the ball was being bobbled.
Smith Rivera. Kick out. Cameron, a three. It's an air ball. And it's out of bounds.
I don't really like the looks that they just took. Settling for the three, going long ball instead of driving towards the basket.
Georgetown is 9 of 30 from three-point territory. UConn holding on to a three-point lead. 65-62, UConn leading Georgetown. 59 seconds remaining in this second half. Georgetown does have 2 timeouts left. Possession arrow favors the Hoyas. UConn with a timeout. 16 fouls against the Huskies. So Reggie Cameron now on the bench. Cameron's 3 of 7 from three-point range. It's a one-possession game. UConn with the lead and the ball.
Eventually Gibbs will try to get that basketball back somewhere up high if he can.
Hamilton.
There we go.
Back out for Gibbs. 12 to shoot. 9 on the timer.
Gibbs usually tries to go to the hoop.
And a touch foul out front. So UConn got the best of both worlds. They got to use clock, and they'll go to the free throw line with an opportunity to add to the lead.
And one of the things he's very good at, we've seen him shoot the basketball. He's actually second in the Big East from 3, so people know that last year at Seton Hall. He's even better, I think, going and setting you up and going past you, and that's what he did on that play.
He is 8 of 8 from the line today. Rimming out for Gibbs. UConn is 26 of 31 as a team. Johnson sits for Georgetown. Campbell back in.
You start to think about Georgetown with the ball. Eyeing down 3 or 4. Take it and attack. Don't settle for a quick 3. If you need to kick it out, look at this.
Gibbs misses on a pair. It's a 3-point lead for UConn. 5-second difference. Shot clock, the game clock. We're winding down. Smith Rivera for the Hoyas. Govan back in. Knocked away, and a steal by Purvis. He's fouled by Smith Rivera. So you have the freshman out front trying to work with the senior. And Georgetown turns it over.
Right on the money. You get the big guy handling it. Now look, a little confusion. Where is everybody? Purvis steps in, just a little of a deflection. Good call from the official from behind. And Purvis, remember, is under 60% shooting free throws.
Gets the roll on the first attempt.
Yeah, when Gibbs hits the front rim and it rolls out, Purvis gets it going and gets it to fall over. And keep your shoulders going towards the basket, especially late free throw shooting. Don't fall away from it. There you go.
67-62. We're down to 17 seconds left. 7-0 run. Peak. Contact. It's going the other way. 13 seconds to play. UConn is in control.
And remember, you can telegraph a pass, but you can telegraph a drive also. Terrific defense, just waiting it out. So all you had to do is wait and understand that they were going to come down the floor. Kevin Ollie recognizes the terrific defensive effort by Nolan.
Peak has fouled out for Georgetown. They got a timeout in Hartford. 13 seconds left. UConn up by 5 on the Hoyas. Georgetown had opportunities. UConn holds on to the lead. 67-62 with 13 seconds to play.
I think they were 2 possessions late on going to the basket. They took those 2 threes. They finally went to the basket on that last one. That was an easy one to defend, not to take anything away from Nolan. Terrific effort. But you knew they were going to try to come right down the middle of the floor. Go to the ball. Catch it, the quick foul.
Miller gets it in for Gibbs. And the foul is given at the 10.4 mark. And Gibbs will hurried to the free throw line. He just missed on a pair. Gibbs trying to get that shooting stroke, visualize it, with UConn in front by 5. Made his first 8 on the day. And trying to put this one away. Short. He's leaving the door open. Georgetown shuffling players in. Offense, defense for JT3.
I can guarantee you, dude, Kevin Ollie wants him on the free throw line. There's no question about that. Puts his arms up finally. He gets one to go.
Splits a pair. And UConn in front 68-62. It's an 8-0 run for the Huskies. Taking a lot of time, and a block shot by Miller on Cameron. That'll do it. 65th all-time meeting between former conference rivals, and it belongs to UConn. 68-62. The Huskies with a burst to end the game. And they knock off Georgetown in Hartford. For Jim Spanarkel and the rest of Lion Eagle, coming up next, Duke at NC State. Game 2 of our triple header. UConn a winner over Georgetown here at home. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports.